how he stepped it out over Casey Kane in just a couple of laps. It's 1 second back to Kane. Then Hamlin, Johnson, Kenseth, Allmendinger, Keselowski right there.
Allmendinger and Keselowski, those are two guys that have just, and Sam Hornish. And these guys are not just there by luck. They are running today, man.
The top of the day, we talked about the 83 Vickers, the 98 Menard. There they battled for 13th place. And here's the race for third.
This 48, he gets all he can get when those tires are fresh, and he's on sticking tires, and he doesn't mind going to the top or going to the bottom.
You know, Larry, you made a point, and I think it's a good one, about some of the Hendrick cars are maybe having to push the envelope a little too far. When would be a good time to do that in the season? Early in the season. Do your testing now. Roger.
If you're missing Montoya, he's back in 9th place between Biffle and Hornish as they slug it out.
Well, and I think Dick Bergman was telling us at a break that he didn't have the greatest pit stop the last time, and he was starting to complain about the car starting to really slide around, no grip in either end.
Jeff Gordon is 2 laps down, tire troubles, as he interrupts the Vickers Menard battle.
And you know something that's really maybe played into some of these guys' hands today too. The harder you go, the more trouble you're going to have. You know, if you don't drive 100% all the time, your tires might last longer and you might have a little less trouble.
Those two are about to have company with Clint Boyer coming on the high side, chasing Menard. And there he is. Boyer's right in the midst of it. And so too Marcus Ambrose and Kyle Busch. All these cars are racing for position for 13th.
And just remember, Boyer and Kyle Busch are both cars that had some tire issues earlier and had to come to pit road for unscheduled stop. They fought their way back.
Hey, Chris, what's the strategy down there?
Well, DW, you just nailed it. This is not a sprint, it's a marathon, and that's what the 11 knows. They can't run hard all the time. In fact, the word they used midway through this race, maintain.
Well, the problem is she's going to become a sprint here very shortly, because we're down now to less than 90 laps to go.
That's all right.
But I love this. Who would think you'd have such a whale of a battle for 13th place with 89 laps to go?
All those guys that are in trouble.
Jeff Burton trying to come back from that speeding penalty.
And Mike, you mentioned Jeff Gordon 2 laps down. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in that 88 car you see right there, he as well is 2 laps down, our pole sitter.
And Burton in the midst of that, but he is 1 lap down. In fact, he's the first car 1 lap down. Scott Speed right in the midst of it. He's on the lead lap. Has been all day. He is 18th in the 82.
Speed's car seems to stay better longer. It gets going in the long run. Really picks them off after a few laps.
Up front, Kurt Busch's lead disappeared. Casey Kane set to capitalize. 6 of Kane's 11 wins have come on mile-and-a-half racetracks. Steve, what happened to Kurt Busch's lead?
Well, I just think it's the 9 car has gotten better, but Mike, we want to play some audio. Listen to how much fun Kurt Busch is having in that 2 car.
I was wide open through 1 and 2. Bad to the bone.
Let me tell you, if you're wide open through 1 and 2 right now in this race, you are bad to the bone.
Well, and I think one thing that's starting to help that is we're hearing that the track temperature is coming down. I think it's mainly in 1 and 2 because those billboards are starting to really shade that racetrack. It's gaining some grip.
But I've just seen it pretty much all day. That 2 car is pretty fast for maybe 10, 15 laps, but then the 9 seems to be a little better 15, 20 laps on into a run. Matt, what do they say?
And DW, Casey's moving around a little bit. Earlier in the race, he was right down on the bottom yellow line. Then he started to lose the handle and was running a lane up. He's been able to try to migrate back down to the low side, working on Kurt Busch, but his car just a tick still on the free side.
When it's free and you get down low like he is right there, you get through those bumps and you see what happens to it. Car starts moving the front up and down a little bit, and the back end will step out with you. So that must be what he's fighting.
But I'm telling you, look at these guys racing door handle to door handle, swapping the lead. I think just goes to show you that all the work that NASCAR's done, that Goodyear's done, we haven't seen good racing like this in a long, long time at Atlanta Motor Speedway. We've had great finishes, but not necessarily this kind of racing.
Well, if that beer battle continues side by side, they're going to have home improvement right at their back door, and that would be Jimmy Johnson, who has cut about 0.3 of a second in the last 3 laps from the advantage that this duo had over him in 3rd place and Denny Hamlin in 4th.
The 48 is lurking, just like he did last week. Watching the race, liking what he's seeing. Y'all boys going up there and race each other. I'll sit here and watch for a while.
83 laps to the finish. Plenty of time for anything to happen.
The Kobalt Tools 500 is sponsored by Chevy. Every model is backed by a 5-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. By Napa, Napa know-how. And by Coca-Cola. Open a Coke and enjoy the race.
77 laps to go in Atlanta. You're watching race leader Casey Kane from our aerial coverage, brought to you by DirecTV. It'll change your life. Call 1-800-DirecTV. Let's show you the lead lap cars beginning at 21st place with the number 21, the 5-time Atlanta race winner Bill Elliott.
What helped him was that caution. When he stayed out and led some laps, that caution came out just right for him.
Started 34th. Now Sam Hornish has been in the top 10 much of the day, but he slid back to 20th. Steve?
And he may have a problem, Mike Joy, which is a shame. As you said, he got up to the top 10. I mentioned a while ago that he may have a horsepower problem. Well, it's actually a power problem. He said he has switched ignition boxes. The crew has a backup battery ready in the pit. So it's not horsepower. It may be just power in general.
We're getting into that last 100 miles where this place starts taking a toll on engines.
This is when you don't want any achy breaky parts. I'm telling you, they're getting tired.
18th is David Gilliland. Got to tell the story again. His car owner Bob Jenkins was watching racing on TV, told his wife, I want to start a race team. I want to be in Sprint Cup racing. And his wife said, we don't even own our road car. We lease it. You want to buy race cars and a race team? Gosh darn it. He's got a multi-car operation and doing well.
But I'm going to tell you what, as we look at Scott Speed, that's in the 18th position, back to Gilliland. Remember, that's a guy that I think's been more than a fair sport, staying out an extra lap on pit road that leave the opening for that 48 car.
Yep, hasn't hurt him. Scott Speed's had a good day. And how about Kyle Busch for the elevator ride of the day, being up and down and up and down, and he's trying to fight his way back, Kristen, out from 17th.
Yeah, I guess that would be a little bit like a yo-yo. You know, he raced in the truck race yesterday for his own team, and competition director Rick Wren called Dave Rogers last night to give him tips on this tire. They have had tire issues. At one point, Kyle Busch told his team, get the plane ready. He was ready to go. Now he's going in the other direction, climbing back up the speed chart.
16th, Jamie McMurray in his Chevrolet, started 24th today. And up to 15th, Brian Vickers. He's flirted with the top 10. Vickers started 26th in his Toyota.
By far the best run they've had in a long time.
He's only inches off that wall all the way around. I'm telling you, he's been touching it.
Now Marcus Ambrose finds himself in the 14th position, and he found himself in the middle of a hornet's nest a bit ago. Watch this.
This gets a little dicey right here. 18 gives the 47 of Marcos a little love tap. He loves love.
And Jeff Burton at 31 is fighting, trying to stay the first car lap down to get a free pass if we get a caution.